Welcome to In Focus on this Sunday, February 16th, 2020. I'm Cheryl Wills. But first, the new laws on cash bail took effect on January 1st, and within days, it caused a rift in the state legislature, even among Democrats who initially supported it. Here's Zach Fink.
Senate Majority Leader Andrea Stewart-Cousins says she wants to roll back portions of the bail reform passed last year, which has proved unpopular with some New Yorkers, particularly in the suburbs like Long Island. It's perhaps no coincidence that she first spoke about her concerns with bail reform with the Long Island-based newspaper Newsday. Her proposal was quickly rejected by the Assembly, at least for now.
We have to be very careful not to rush to do something that underscores why we took on this issue in the first place, which could end up causing more people to be incarcerated pre-trial and before they've been convicted of a crime.
The Senate's proposed changes to the current bail reform law include no cash bail for all misdemeanors except sex and hate crimes. For all other crimes, judicial discretion to either remand or impose electronic monitoring, and any crime involving a fatality would be eligible for remand. The bail reform was passed last year as part of the budget without a single public hearing. Since going into effect in January, there has been a 17% spike in crime in the city, according to the NYPD. But at a rally in support of holding the line on bail and not making any changes, some Assembly members took aim at the recently elected Long Island Democratic senators, also known as the Long Island Six.
You got 6 members that want to take us back in time. Yeah. You tell me what the equation looks like. Put your resources where Democrats are going to support other Democrats. Yeah. And for those who don't want to act like Democrats, take their resources away from them.
We are not going back on bail. This is real. We are talking about lives. This is not about you getting reelected. It's about doing the right thing.
At times, the language used at the rally was incendiary. Hastie was asked to respond to the volume level.
This is a very emotional thing to people, and that's why I'm saying I think that we should be cautious and wait for data before we react to anything.
And as you can see, this issue is even dividing Democrats in this city and the state. Joining me now is Stanley Richards. He's the executive director of the Fortune Society. He's been fighting for criminal justice reform for decades. And Althea Hogan is also here. She spent months in jail because she could not afford cash bail. And now she is working with the Fortune Society as well. Thank you both for your time today.
Thank you for inviting us.
Absolutely. Mr. Richards, you fought hard for cash bail reform, and you got it on January 1st. And now there is severe backlash, and it looks like there will be changes. Let me ask you directly, should anything about the law be changed?
We need to hold firm on where we're at. What we have been talking about at the Fortune Society when it comes to bail reform is we should not be criminalizing poverty. And the way that justice was being meted out, it was that the most vulnerable, the most poor were charged bail that they couldn't afford. So it was basically like ransom. And so what we're saying is that we need to change that, and we have. And so now we have a system where low-level offenders, when they go before the judge, they get a date to get their case adjudicated. But most importantly, you have organizations like the Fortune Society engaging those men and women, trying to help them rebuild their lives through employment, through drug treatment, through mental health counseling and housing. And those are the investments we ought to make, not reverting back to old
So
bill.
that's a no.
It's a no. It's an absolute no.
It's a firm no from you. Ms. Hogan, I know it's a no for you as well. Absolutely. You kind of exemplify what this whole debate is about. You were arrested for misdemeanor weapons possession. You were held on $1,000 cash bail. You could not afford it at the time. No. And you spent 3 months behind bars at Rikers Island. Explain what you think about this current law and the call for it to change.
Well, I think it should be changed. It should stay the same. I mean, letting them out without being held on bail is great. Staying in jail before your case is even being seen, it's just depriving you of all your rights, you know, all your freedom, you know, things that you can get help with before sitting in jail, you know.
Share with us, what was it like to be behind bars for 3 months? Nope, you haven't been tried. You're behind bars for 3 months. What does that feel like?
Your mental state, you know, your mental state is not sane, you know. You're feeling lost, you know, no one really can help you. You know, just sitting there not being helped, you know, through the system is not good.
Okay, Mr. Richards, last weekend we had Unfortunate tragedy. 2 officers attempted assassination. The PBA president, Pat Lynch, in response, thankfully no one was killed, but both officers wounded. He had this to say. Listen.
If time and time again a perp stands in front of the judge, gets released, and goes out and immediately does the same thing, something's not working. So they need that discretion to say, you're banned to bogeyland. You need to go to jail because we've given you a chance in the past and you blew it. You went and shot some cops. You went and robbed the citizens. You went out and created terror on our streets.
A great many New Yorkers feel exactly the way he does. How do you respond to him?
I would say this, listen, the Fortune Society, we see over 7,000 people each year. We help people find jobs. We help people reunite with their family. We provide housing, substance abuse, and mental health treatment. Every person we help rebuild their lives is a person that doesn't come in contact with the police. It's a person that doesn't devastate their community. We agree, we need to have public safety. What is public safety? Public safety is about helping people rebuild their lives after they've held accountable and served their time, did their, admitted their ownership of whatever they did, and then they're trying to rebuild their lives. So we say we haven't done what we need to do fully. We've got bail reform, but now we need to invest in help ensure people rebuild their lives.
Well, Ms. Hogan, how would you respond to what the PBA president just said?
I agree with Mr. Richards. They need more people help coming into the jails, helping people before, or even before you even get to jail, have things set up to where we can get our services. It's a lot of mental health, a lot of homelessness, and a lot of substance abuse, you know, people that's going through.
Right, but to play devil's advocate, since we don't have the other side here, there have been some cases that the media has exposed where someone has been released on cash bail and they've turned around and committed a crime again. How do you respond to people that say, this is not working, the judge's hands are tied?
It's not about that it's not working. People who break our laws need to be held accountable. When I was in the system, I broke the law. I was held accountable. I served my time in jail and in prison. But during my time in prison, I went to school, got my GED, went to college. And I came back out and I got a job and I rebuilt my life. And that's the investment we need to make.
But some people will say, but that was you, Stanley Richards.
But it's not me. What's about me is just the investment that the state and the city said, we need to do things differently. They stopped doing the college program. Why? It was making a difference. It made a difference for me. It made a difference for thousands of others. And so what we do at Fortune is about public safety. It's about where you want to invest. Do you invest on punishment, which we know does not work, or do you want to invest in seeing the beauty in people, helping people rebuild their lives after they're held accountable, after they paid their price? Helping people rebuild their lives.
What do you know, Ms. Hogan, that most people don't know about being held with no hope because you didn't have the money for cash bail? What is it you know that most people don't know?
You just feel lost, you know. Your whole sense of everything is just sitting there. You know, you're just sitting in there, just feel like no one cares, like no one is there to help you. Until I came across Fortune Society, you know. That's the only time my spirits was uplifted, you know, because I knew they really came in to say that they were going to help.
Okay, and last question for you, Mr. Richards. If there are changes, it looks like there will be changes. What will you do? Will you protest?
We will continue to talk to our legislators. So we need to hold still, be steady, make the right investments in helping people rebuild their lives when they come home from jail and prison, and let's invest in people.
Okay, thank you both for your time. Stanley Richards.
Thank you.
And Althea Hogan, both of the Fortune Society. Appreciate your time.
Thank you, sir.